Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Russia is considering cancelling visas for several African countries and also Caribbean countries. There are many that are visa free to Russia, and I was amazed when I saw this news. I'm gonna play you the story now. It's just about a minute long, but my friends, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like it and share it with all your friends and family. Let me just play this wonderful news for you, and then I'll come back with my analysis. Let me just play this for you.
For several African countries. Russia is considering canceling visas for several African countries. Moscow is preparing agreements on a visa-free regime with 9 countries in Africa and the Middle East, according to Alexei Klimov, head of the Consular Department of Russian Diplomacy. The timeline for finalizing the agreements remains uncertain as negotiations with partner countries are progressing at different stages. Klimov assured that updates on advancements in this area would be shared once they are formalized in documents, bilateral agreements. Now, previously, the Russian Foreign Ministry announced that Russia was in talks to simplify visa regimes with several African nations, including Zimbabwe. Moscow already has visa-free regimes with Angola, Mozambique, Malawi, Sao Tome and Principe, Tunisia, and Morocco. Russia has been making inroads in Africa, particularly in the Sahel countries that have experienced.
Just see this again so that you can get a
Visas for canceling visas for several African countries. Russia is considering canceling visas for several African countries. Moscow is preparing agreements on a visa-free regime with 9 countries in Africa and the Middle East, according to Alexei Klimov, head of the Consular Department of Russian Diplomacy. The timeline for finalizing the agreements remains uncertain as negotiations with partner countries are progressing at different stages. Klimov assured that updates on advancements in this area would be shared once they are formalized in documents, bilateral agreements. Now, previously, the Russian Foreign Ministry announced that Russia was in talks to simplify visa regimes with several African nations, including Zimbabwe. Moscow already has visa-free regimes with Angola, Mozambique, Malawi, Sao Tome and Principe, Tunisia, and Morocco. Russia has been making inroads in Africa, particularly in the Sahel countries that have experienced.
Yes, there you had it, my friends. Russia is seriously considering scrapping visas for up to 9 African countries to start with. Now compare this with other Western countries. Russia is a European country. Compare this to other European countries. We saw what is happening in Sweden. Sweden is paying immigrants to leave. You see what is happening in Germany. Germany is blocking their borders. The UK and the Netherlands. I need to do a story on that maybe tomorrow, because I'm just hearing a story that the Netherlands is considering asking immigrants to leave their country or stopping immigrants from coming. I will get that story for you maybe tomorrow, and I will present it to you. But Russia has been a friend of Africa for a long time, my friends. Why do I say this? Listen me carefully. During colonization, when the Europeans met at Berlin Conference in Europe and decided among each other to split up Africa, what the Europeans did, they met in Berlin, a conference called Berlin Conference, I think it was 1881, and they decided that I'm going to take this country, you're going to take this, like France, the UK, Spain, Germany, all of them met, and Britain decided to take Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda. France decided to take like Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, Ivory Coast. Germany decided to take Namibia, Tanzania, and the UK took Zimbabwe. So that is how they did it. They split it up among each other, and they did that for about 100 years. They spent their time exploiting Africa. Russia didn't take part in that. Russia was developing Russia, focusing on Russia, focusing on their own resources. Russia never colonized Africa or the Caribbean. During slavery, we know what happened during slavery. The Europeans went to West Africa and they bought Africans and enslaved them in the Caribbean and America and South America for hundreds of years. Russia didn't take part in that. But hear this, guess who freed Africa from colonization? The same Russia. Russia, it is because of Russia why South Africa is maybe free today, because during apartheid, you remember the ANC. They have the ANC party. The ANC was actually a freedom fighting party, like an army down there in South Africa fighting apartheid. And it was Russia who armed Nelson Mandela, Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa, and all of those famous South African politicians back in the day to fight the apartheid regime. America, the UK, Netherlands, Germany, all of them were silent. They didn't care because they believed in apartheid. And it was Russia who said, no, I'm going to arm you. I'm going to help you fight these Western powers. And South Africa was able to liberate themselves. Remember, Cuba assisted as well. Cuba and Russia was working together, and they were arming the Africans in Africa to fight the colonialists in Africa. And we see what happened recently in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger when they kicked the French out of their country. It was Russia who came in and protect them. So the France was not able to come back in with their army. If it wasn't for Russia, they would have figured out a way how to remove those governments. They would have armed rebels, terrorist organizations, and they would have fought the government in those Sahel regions and overthrow them again. But Russia came in and game over. So now fast forward to today, we're having the same thing. Russia again. Russia is pledging to give a visa-free access to several African countries. This is significant because Russia is a developing European country, a well-developed European country. And we know all European countries require that all Africans get visa to come to Europe. I traveled from Africa to Europe, and I'm telling you, on the plane from Africa to Europe, it was all Europeans on the plane. Hardly any, maybe one or two Africans. That is because they can't get visas to travel to Europe. They have a very, they kind of bar Africans from Europe by not giving them visas. And that is unfortunate. And what is happening in the Caribbean as well? We know many Caribbean countries, including mine of St. Kitts and Nevis, Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, Grenada. We have visa-free access to Russia. You can go to Russia visa-free. I never thought of visiting Russia, but I remember just a few weeks ago or months ago, I saw when they put the sanctions on Russia. They were showing some videos of inside Russia. A YouTuber was showing some videos of inside Russia. And I was amazed to see the beautiful malls and the infrastructure, even more beautiful than many European countries. And the sanctions didn't affect Russia because what Russia did, let's say KFC, McDonald's, all those European countries decided that they're going to pull out of Russia after the war in Ukraine. What Russia did, it just replaced them with a Russian company. So today, you have all the Western companies that pulled out. Russia just replaced them with a Russian company, and the malls are looking beautiful in Russia. The infrastructure well developed. Um, so Africans, you can visit, consider Russia, because if Europe is not going to take you seriously, they're going to ask you for visas and all of these documentation. But Russia say you can visit Russia just by just your passport. I am recommending that you take the opportunity, go to Russia, go to study, um, go to live, and you can see Russia. Maybe you might find a beautiful Russian wife or husband there and get married and settle down. Who knows? But my friends, I just wanted to hit that point today, that sometimes we have to dig deeper. If you listen to Western media, they always make Russia out to be the bad person. Always make Russia out to be the bad guy. But let's look at the evidence before us. Russia has never done anything to Africa and the Caribbean. Think about it. Never done anything to Africa and the Caribbean. But we can point to the Europeans who enslaved Africans in the Caribbean. They put sanctions on Zimbabwe. They put sanctions on other African countries. They're taxing us here in the Caribbean, taxing us on everything. They say we need visas to go to America, and we're right in the Caribbean. Visas to go to Canada. But Russia is just there, but many people listen to the news and they just follow what they hear. That if Russia is enemies with America and Canada and Europe, that has nothing to do with the Caribbean and Africa. I suggest we're staying out of their business, we're staying out of their problems, my friends. What we want to do is to bridge the gap between Africa and the Caribbean. And if Russia is going to help us, well, we work with who is helping us. Sorry. We work with who is helping us. And that is how I feel, my friends. Make sure to comment in the video. Give me your thoughts. Like this video. Share it with all your friends and family. And let me know your thoughts, my friends, because the world is changing rapidly. We see the BRICS that is happening today. The BRICS countries, Russia, China, and India, those are lead countries in the BRICS. So what are we going to do in Africa and the Caribbean? We need to join some sort of organization that's going to strengthen us. The West has their organization. They have the G7. They have NATO. All of these little organizations. They control the United Nations. They control the World Bank. The IMF, they control the IMF. So we cannot depend on the West to save us. They're not going to save us. We need to develop our own strategies going forward and work with people who are going to strengthen us, strengthen Africa and the Caribbean. Russia don't need any resources. Russia have a lot of gold, diamond, oil, gas. All of that is in Russia. Russia supplies Europe with gas, natural gas. And natural gas is one of the most valuable gas, because I bought a very small tank of natural gas in Kenya, and I was cooking 3 times a day for about 3 months, and that gas up to now, the gas is running still. I had to abandon the gas when I left Kenya. So natural gas, we don't have natural gas in the Caribbean. We could get natural gas from Russia. Natural gas, even from Africa, we could get natural gas from. The Atlantic Ocean is an ocean separating the Caribbean from Africa. The European use the Atlantic Ocean for slavery. But today, let us use that same blueprint, but let us use it to trade and to develop our different countries. Direct flights. We need direct flights from Africa to the Caribbean, and I'm proud to say that Antigua has been made in strides. You heard of the LIAT 2020. LIAT, the CEO of LIAT now is a Nigerian, very famous Nigerian who, Airpeace, the famous Nigerian airline called Airpeace. I saw it in Gatwick Airport when I was there. They're doing some type of arrangement, and I'll bring that story to you because the direct flights are coming, my friends. I will bring that story to you because the direct flights are coming. And we just have to be patient. We just have to believe in ourselves and remain strong. Work with strategic partners. Europe is closing down now. Europe is closing off from the rest of the world. Well, at least Africa and the Caribbean, they're closing their shop from us. They don't want us anymore in Europe. We don't want them anyway because they have nothing. They have nothing for us. All they can do is take. They cannot do anything to develop the Caribbean islands and Africa. Think about it. Europe colonized Africa and the Caribbean for well over 100 years. And when they left the Caribbean and Africa in ruins. No roads, no hospitals, no infrastructure, nothing. But they left with bags of gold and diamond and everything they could find. They even stole our history and passed it off as their own. They went into ancient Egypt. They went into a university, Timbuktu University, the first, I think, university ever. They went there and they stole information, passed it off as their own, and then burned the remaining information so nobody could ever find them again. That is what these people did. So many of the things they are doing today, they got that information from Africa, and then we in Africa and the Caribbean believe that Europe invented this, Europe invented that. But no. Egypt was a modern place, and Egypt had black Africans running Egypt during those times. The Arabs didn't take over Egypt yet. It was black Africans, dark-skinned Africans running Egypt during the times of the pyramid. So we are strong people. We have the knowledge. Up to today, they can't figure out how the pyramids were built, my friends. So I say all this to say, my friends, let us have some confidence in ourselves. Let us bridge the gap between Africa and the Caribbean. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Bjorn, and of course, I will see you again in the next video. But before I go, please subscribe, like and share the video. Make sure to comment your thoughts as well, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.